Hello Drive Radio fans, Richard Rush here today with actually my lovely wife Lauren Rush behind the camera. And today we are going to be, I should say tonight, we're going to be reviewing the 2016 Jaguar F-Type R, and as you can see, convertible. So what's new for 2016? Well, they've added a manual version for the V6 model, and they've added all-wheel drive, which actually comes standard on this R-Type model with the big V8 550 horsepower engine, supercharged engine, I should say. So that's really what's new, and I'll talk about a little bit more about that. Want you to get a glimpse of this car. Partially we're turning the lights on because it's getting a little bit dark, and partially because one of my favorite parts of the car. Love this hood. What they've done, it makes this car look aggressive, makes it look fast. Before we start walking around the car, I am going to say this. I took this around with several friends this past weekend and family members. Got a lot of comments, but the most overwhelming comment was actually how this car speaks class and elegance, which for some of you are going to say, well, it's just a Jaguar, it's a supercar, $120,000 as this car sits right here. Yes, yes, and yes, all of that is true. However, this isn't your typical supercar. It's not a gaudy feel to it. It's not a, hey, look at me. This car has a, you know what, I'm classy, I'm going to drive really fast and be classy, but I'm still going to be classy. I'm going to be very professional with that. So with that being said, let's take a kind of quick look around this car. We'll definitely take you for a drive in it the best that we can. So as we come around to the front, you can see Jaguar really hasn't changed a whole lot. You can see the R emblem right here, the Jaguar emblem right there. Love this front hood. There's a lot of air intakes involved in this. What I did mention about what's new for 2016 is that 6-speed manual transmission, enhanced technology as well. The V8S model, which some of you are going to talk about as we come around to this other side here and we kind of show you the side of the F-Type R convertible. The V8S model is now gone. They've made some change to the trim levels, and they've also changed the optional 12-speaker Meridian sound system is now standard on all F-Types. So the big change for a lot of you is going to be the all-wheel drive that is now standard on the R, actually on the R model. And a lot of you are going to complain. Some of you are going to say, "Wow, do I want a V8 supercharged 550 horsepower monster all-wheel drive?" No. And as we kind of come around the back here, the response I would say to that is Jaguar has done something which a lot of manufacturers done, and that is this car in normal driving conditions, dry road, you're going to be 100% power to the rear wheels. Where you're going to add the 50-50 split is if you're going around tight corners, if you're on a racetrack, if it's slippery outside. This actually does have a snow mode, a dynamic mode, which we'll go through on the interior. The base of it is this, and we drove the 2015 F-Type R last year, and I will say this, the all-wheel drive model enhances the driving experience. And some of you are going to say, no, that can't be. I'm telling you, when you go around corners, this car doesn't slip, it doesn't move, it sits into the corners extremely well, handles incredibly efficient, I should say, and just overall really is a blast. And as we're on the very back here of the car, you can see the quad exhaust right here. The R all-wheel drive is stamped right next to the R as well. We will show you here in just a second the trunk as well as the convertible, but I'll tell you what, we're actually going to take a quick drive, we're going to come back, show you the exhaust sound, and then we're going to show you the kind of the trunk space, the interior, and then we're going to give you our opinion of the 2016 Jaguar F-Type R convertible. All right, fans, we're here for the driving portion of the 2016 Jaguar F-Type R Coupe. As we always say, get out, drive these cars yourselves, especially this car. It's something that we definitely highly encourage you to do. So real quick, we're going to go through some of the interior features before we head on a drive. And again, I apologize for the lighting. Here in Colorado, things are getting dark, and this is a time that we could find to do it. So I'm going to show you kind of real quick the infotainment system really quick. So Lauren, if you can pan over here. I'm going to go really quick to the home. You have the ability to launch right into your audio, the climate control as well. You can launch into the navigation system, and it also shows right here your Bluetooth device. So definitely a nice feature there. Incoming calls, obviously. Something I do want to show you, the dynamic mode over here. I mentioned before the ambient lighting. The dynamic mode, which you do have this car in dynamic mode, it allows you to change and adjust how this car operates. So you can change the engine, the steering, the suspension, the gear shift, all by going to dynamic. You can see how many G forces you're pulling. You can do a stopwatch, so if you're going to go doing some lap times, and it will also show you your gas pedal and brake. As you can see, I do have the brake depressed, so you can see right there how it has that. And if I actually give it the gas, you can see how the gas goes back to there. So I'm going to take it out of dynamic really quick. One thing I'm going to show you is the rear view camera. It does have the grid lines that move. Very nice, handy feature, especially for backing into tight spaces with this car. It is rather wide, so something to be wary of, but definitely something that I am a fan of personally. So going to throw it into drive mode, and we're going to take off. All right, fans, we're going to go for a quick drive here. And I know I mentioned that just before, but wanted to kind of get reset up here. So take my foot off the gas. As you notice, the engine just did start. It has a very nice auto start functionality to this vehicle. Definitely a very nice, handy feature. Some of you are going to ask, what are we getting average miles per gallon? I'm averaging 23 miles per gallon roughly. That's right where this car is going to be, and that's with honestly driving it pretty hard quite a bit of the time. This does, and it's actually it's funny to show you since we're kind of doing this review a little bit at night. This car does have the kind of adaptive headlights which show you where you're going, so if you kind of maneuver them there, it will show you that. You will notice we are in the quiet mode over this vehicle. If I'm actually going to turn the exhaust on real quick. And as you can hear, it gives it that nice throaty sound, one of our personal favorites. It's hard to show you the true handling and power and capability of this vehicle. Honestly, I'm not even going to try. It's too difficult. One thing I will point out, though, and my wife mentioned it, she kind of actually mentioned it later on in this review, and that is the windows are up in the convertible right now, and you're probably not even sensing any wind, and that's because this car handles the wind very well, especially with the screen behind us. Really does work tremendous. No other way to say it. There are 2 seat heaters on this front seat, which is a very nice plus in addition, in our opinion here. Just get there just by this. And so actually with that, I mean, you can see the takeoff and the sound with that. Definitely a plus feature in this car, or actually my favorite feature outside of the engine itself and the 550 horsepower it delivers. The exhaust, one of our personal favorites. Going to turn it off real quick, but with that, actually, let's head back. We're going to wrap up the review, go through the interior, and we'll give you our opinion of the 2016 Jaguar F-Type R convertible. All right, fans, we're back from our drive, which hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you enjoyed the exhaust sound coming from inside the cab, and now actually we're going to show you the exhaust outside the cab. So I'm going to hop in the driver's seat real quick. Lauren, my wife, is going to stand back here, and we're going to show you what the dynamic exhaust, the flaps that actually open and close, we're going to show you what it sounds like with them closed, and then with them open, we'll come back and go through the rest of the car. So hang tight real quick. I'm going to fire up the car. Okay, if you couldn't hear it, the first note, and when you get into the higher RPMs, the flaps automatically open. So if you're out on the road and you accelerate, the flaps are going to automatically open, and you can hear the crackle. One of our favorite things about this vehicle. Really am a fan of that. It gives you a great sound, a great note. I actually drove around with several people, said, you know, we can close those if it's too loud, and they said, no, we love it. Jaguar has actually tuned this exhaust to sound like that of a Jaguar's purr, and I'm not like some of you maybe. I haven't heard a Jaguar's purr, but that's kind of, I would assume, what it would sound like. It's awesome, one of my favorite parts of the car, and again, out on the road, it really is awesome. So with that, we're going to open up the trunk and kind of show you what's inside here, so that you can open it from the key fob, or there's a little button under here. You pop it open, lift it up. So as you can see, it's not a very large trunk. Part of the reason is because it is the convertible, which actually folds right in there. A nice thing though, you don't have to worry about losing any, I guess, having anything get squished by the convertible top. There's a little nice storage down here. You can put shoes, you can put a backpack. There's actually these nice little tie downs that you can put different pieces through if you need to. It really is very nice and handy. We did get a full carry-on size bag back here this past week, kind of moving around a little bit. That was a very nice feature for us. Something to be wary of. I don't know if you'd be able to get a golf bag fully back in here, a fully stocked golf bag. If you have a smaller golf bag that maybe just holds 7-8 clubs, could very well do so very easily. We're going to close that right here. We're actually going to come around to the passenger side. And actually, you know what, we'll do this is I'm going to open up the passenger side, meet you on the driver's side, have kind of do the interior portion the best we can from in there, and then I'll wrap up with my opinion of the 2016 Jaguar F-Type R convertible. All right, fans, one thing, since this is a convertible, and even though we had a little bit of rain here in Colorado beforehand, I'm going to show you how fast it goes down, which is actually incredibly fast, and going to show you how that works, and then we'll do our interior portion because it helps us with lighting as well. So bear with me 1 second while we lower the top. And with that, the top is now down. And I'm going to have Lauren kind of come closer. We're just going to go jump right into it. Very nice feature, very handy feature. I believe it's 30 or 35 miles an hour. Up to that is how you can get the top to go up and down. Great feature. One thing I will comment, I'm actually going to have her comment on this in just a second. With the windows up, you can hardly tell it's a convertible. We actually went to several nice places over the weekend. Her hair didn't get too messed up, and it was really nice. Lauren, what did you think of the convertible top?
I thought it was great. As long as you have the side windows up, you can just let your hair go and you don't have to worry about redoing it too much.
There you go. So that's from a lady's perspective on driving this. So men, you can show that to your wives, and hopefully they'll be a little bit more amenable to you purchasing this car. So we're going to go through some of the interior really quick. First, I'm going to show you the door. As Lauren kind of shows there, you have all your seat controls right there. You have lumbar support, which is actually a different thing that you don't see a lot, but especially this being essentially a race car in my opinion. Love the red stitching there. They've put a lot of soft touch materials there, which again on Jaguar you're going to come to expect, especially for $120,000. They've done an excellent job. There's ambient lighting. I believe there's 5 different lighting choices that you can choose from, which we'll show you here in a second. As we kind of pan into the middle of the car here, you can see these nice racing seats that they have in here. The R emblem is stepped up here. I love the red accents, the red stitching, just the red down the middle. Lauren actually commented on how pretty it was. One thing I will mention, and it's hard to actually show you, but this leather isn't a cheap leather by any means. It's very tough and it's very thick, which is very nice, especially if you're going to be taking this out, getting in and out of it a lot. You're not going to be wary of what that's going to be like. We'll show you the dash really quick, which is of course a lot of soft touch. You do have the button right here. It almost seems like kind of a Batmobile style opening right here. Just push that. Glove box is right there. You have the grab handle right here, of course. The cup holders right here. You don't have much of a glove box, but you have, I should say a center console, but you do have a little bit of one. We went through the infotainment system during the driving portion just a little bit. One thing I am going to show you really quick is this, which in my opinion makes this car like a Batmobile. So the AC is on, which means this is up now. If you actually press the climate off, turn that off, it's actually going to go down, which is a very, very cool feature because it doesn't think it needs it, which it doesn't. And so, but if you want it back on, you just push that back on and it's going to go right back up. Very cool, very subtle feature. I love what they've done with the carbon fiber here, all your controls being right here on the steering wheel as you need to. This does have a auto start stop functionality, and Lauren, I'm not sure if you can kind of get this with the camera. Here's the switches I mentioned, which is the snow mode, the dynamic mode, just a quick flip of the switch right there, or I should say pull of a lever almost. You have your traction control right here, the exhaust that we talked about. You also do have the ability to have the flap go up and down, and there is the convertible top right there. So overall, really do enjoy this car. There's a lot more that we could show you, but we only have a limited time. So with that, I think we're going to kind of wrap up. I'm going to actually hop out real quick, give you my opinion of the 2016 Jaguar F-Type R convertible. All right, fans, here's my opinion of the 2016 Jaguar F-Type, I should say, R convertible. Fantastic car. It's a rocket ship, it's a race car, whatever adjective you want to use, or noun or verb or whatever it is, this car has it. It's fantastic to drive, an absolute blast to take on the road. It gets a lot of looks, a lot of good looks. You feel classy driving, you feel very professional. What are the pros for this car? Everything. Absolutely one of our most favorite cars to drive. If this is going to be a retirement present to yourself or a car that you want to own, definitely can see this car holding its value and almost honestly being a collector's item. It's that great. Cons for this car, some of you are going to say price. Well, for the market that this car's in, it's very, very competitive. For its competitors and what this car offers and gives you, it's going to be honestly right in line with that. I really don't have too many cons as far as that goes. It sits well. If you are a taller person, I actually have several taller family and friends that are about 6'4", 6'5". They do have a hard time fitting in here with the convertible top. They actually felt like the hard top, or without the essentially no convertible, gave them a little bit more room. So just the coupe version gave them a little bit more headroom, something to consider. Other than that, one of our absolute favorite cars. I can't say enough about it. Jaguar, you've hit this one out of the park. As always, if you want to learn more about this car, if you're interested in driving this car, head to Jaguar's website, head to your local Jaguar dealer, and tell them that John and Richard Rush from Drive Radio sent you.